So we've just surpassed over £2 million in our property pipeline for our deal packaging business, and what I'm wanting to do today is just walk you through how we go from nothing to offer accepted and everything in between. So I've whipped out the trusty whiteboard and I'm going to go through each step one by one. So imagine this as like a big flow chart. This is a bit too small to do a flow chart, so I'm just going to do like up here I'll put the first thing we do and then I'm going to go through it, but please just try and imagine it's just one large flow chart, right? The first thing I do before I look for any properties is write out my criteria. I need to know what I'm looking for, right? Now, for us, what we do is HMO conversions. Now, a HMO conversion is when you just get a normal house and you turn it into a HMO, and we do extensions and we do loft conversions and stuff. So we look for a specific set of criteria. So things like internal floor space. So we need to know, do we need to add space and how much space do we need to add? The price range, the area, got to make sure it's in a good area, the condition. Now this doesn't matter overly too much to us because we mainly do back to brick anyway, most of the time. The layout of the property. Now because of what we do, because we have like large L-shaped dormers and large extensions and stuff, we ideally go for like old Victorian style builds, but we don't have to go for that. There's other ones that we can go for and that we will go for, but primarily this fits what we do perfectly. So the layout of it is quite important for us. And whilst I touch on area, I want to make sure that it's mortgageable, and I can't be bothered spelling all of that. I want to make sure it's mortgageable because sometimes if it's like above, say, a chippy or I don't know, like any sort of like takeaway, if it's near certain things, it may not be mortgageable down the line. So looking out for that is definitely important. Now everyone's criteria is going to be different, right? Your criteria will be different to mine, will be different to everyone else's because we all have different situations. But it's good to set criteria before you start looking, because if you waste time viewing properties and it doesn't hit your criteria, then you could be spending like hours and it could be a lot of money on fuel, a lot of time, a lot of energy. It's just, you don't want to waste all of that. So having your criteria is basically like having a map, so you know exactly where to go and what to look for. The next thing I get ready is proofs. Now this is proof of funds, proof of ID, and proof of address. It's the first thing that agents ask for. You can submit an offer all you like, but they need to know that you've got the money, right? So especially when we have our clients in our deal packaging business, we want to make sure that they've got the money, they've got everything ready to go. So when we submit that offer, it's like that. We don't have to faff about and waste time getting these documents. And then in that time, someone else submits an offer and that gets accepted, right? So having these ready definitely saves time down the line. Right, the third one is portals. Now everyone has their favorite portals. There's Property Filter, there's Rightmove, there's Zoopla, On the Market, Property Engine. Well, I use Property Engine. That is spelled like this because basically it pulls data from all the other sites and it puts it on this one. So everything's in one place. That way I don't have to worry about going from tab to tab to tab, putting in all my criteria, setting all alerts and getting all a bunch of different emails, right? Basically, I go on Property Engine and it's pretty cheap. I think it's like 25 quid a month or something. I go on Property Engine and I put all of my criteria in there because it has basically a search bar on the left and it has tons and tons of criteria, and it even has like an Article 4 map. So we obviously want to make sure that we're not investing in Article 4, or if we do, we need to know about it, right? So basically we just toggle this and it comes up with the outline of the Article 4 map. I don't have to go to the government website or the council website or anything. It's just right there. And then when I hit search, I know that it's either outside of Article 4 or inside of Article 4. So that's just a nice wee bonus that it has. But it has loads of different types of criteria. And when I put that criteria in and I set the alerts, that means when properties get added to like Rightmove and Zoopla and so on, it just gets sent straight to me through Property Engine. It gets straight to my email, so I don't have to like set up alerts like everywhere else. It's all in one place, one-stop shop. Look at that. That was a nice wee ad for Property Engine. I do really recommend it though, man. But like, you got Property Filter that does such and such the same, and you got loads of other ones. It's just picking the best one for you. So for me, I've used Property Engine from day one. I'm going to stick with it because it's all I know and I really do enjoy it. But that doesn't mean it's any better or it's any worse than the other ones. Just pick one that works best for you, that you prefer, and just run with it. And then comes the fun part. Number 4 is look for properties. So this is exactly what it says on the tin. I just scan and look for properties, right? I have different towns, different postcodes, which is great, but this is something I also do, and that is set alerts. I know I spoke about it earlier, but this is so important. Not only because if I'm out, I get an alert and then I can just click on it and I know it hits all my criteria, so I can book a viewing if it works, right? But sometimes when I'm watching or looking for properties and I'm scanning, some can slip through because you just, I don't know, it all gets a bit blurry after a couple hours, right? So you can get an alert and you'd be like, I didn't even notice that one came to the market. And I think just setting on alerts, it's basically just a little automated system. That way, if you miss something, it pops up. But looking for properties, it's what it says on the tin. You just got to look for something that hits the criteria. So we've spent days, weeks, months, sometimes even years looking, and we have found one. Awesome. What do I do now? Do I call the agent? Nope, I do not call the agent because I need to make sure I know where it is and I punch in the numbers, right? So I have an analyzer. Oh, this is a horrible word to spell. I have an analyzer, a spreadsheet, and I use that. I punch in the numbers because sometimes the rents can change depending on where it is, okay? So I like to punch the numbers in there and make sure that it hits the criteria still, because the price range might be where I want it to be, but it might be like a few streets away from something, or you just never know, okay? So I like to punch in the numbers there. And after that, I also like to check the EPC floor size, because I have found, and I don't know if they do this on purpose, man, but the floor spaces or the floor plans that a lot of agents put up, they're inaccurate. And we actually had a couple deals at the start of this year fall through because of that. So I like checking the EPC floor size. Now this isn't 100% accurate, but I believe it could be more accurate than the agent's ones. So we go off floor plans, like the floor sizes a lot. It's a very, very important part of the criteria for us. So I just go in there, I type in the postcode. The good thing about Property Engine, right, you type in the postcode, well, it has the full address, the number and everything. And that way I type in the postcode, I go on the house number and I can see the internal floor size, and I tick that one off. I then check the floor plans, because whilst I'm at it, I may as well check the floor plans to see if it's the right layout for us. Because you can punch in the criteria all you want on the sidebar, but that doesn't actually check the floor plans for you. So I like checking that. And then I go on Google Street View, you know, because I like to see what's really going on. That's a W. I like to see what's going on. I like to see what it'd be like to walk down that street. I know I'm going to view it, but before I go, I like to just check and make sure it's like a decent neighborhood. I always like to think about the investments. I would like to live there myself, and if it seems like a nice neighborhood, then that's just another nice wee box to tick. Number 6, all the criteria is ticked off. I then call up and book the viewing, right? I then get my trusty checklist. I can't even do a shameless plug, man. Right. If you look in the description, I have a wee checklist for you, completely free. The only thing I get is your email for the newsletter, right? So it's just too transparent. But this checklist is actually pretty solid. It took me a long time to create, and I use it at every viewing. And basically, it's just a full in-depth, like before, during, and after checklist. It's all in one checklist, and I use that every single time. So if you want it, feel free to have it. So number 8, we're at the viewing. Fantastic. What I like to do is get my laser measure and basically measure the place up, because I don't want to go in on agents, but from my experience, it's been pretty inaccurate a few times. So I want to measure the place up. I just, I have a little space in my checklist for that, but sometimes I may take a notepad, but basically I want to get accurate measurements, because we obviously convert houses into HMOs, but what we do is we reconfigure all of the rooms. Let's just say I've got a floor plan and it's like this, right? And basically, if they say that this is, I don't know, 80 square meters, that might work. So it could be bedroom here, bedroom there, hallway, bathroom. Wow. After all the floor plans I've seen, you think I'd do better than that, right? Anyway, they might say 80 square meters. So I might think, oh, we can convert this into a studio here. Brilliant. And we can put a studio, like connect these two. They could be a studio, or it could be double ensuite. So in my head, this is what we're doing. So then when I punch in the numbers, I've got, say, 3 studios, 3 double ensuites, then the end value is this is how much we can offer, da 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 da. It really affects like everything. So I've got to make sure that it's accurate. So if they put 80 square meters, but it's actually 70 square meters, and I can't get that studio in, I can only get a double ensuite, then the end value can go from, say, 490 grand to, I don't know, 460 grand or 470 or something. Now, that is quite a lot, because it means there's more money left in the deal. So it can make or break deals, right? So I go there, I measure up, and I get the accurate measuring, and it could be, say, I don't know, 84 square meters. Now, I know this may not seem like a big difference, but it can make a big difference. So it could be the difference between, say, 3 studios or 4 studios. Now, 4 studios, we leave less money in the deal, and it may mean we can put in a higher offer or just get a better return on investment, right? So it does make a big difference. It can make or break a deal. I'm calling this one 8B, but I record a video walkthrough, and I do this for the builder. I do it for the builder, and I do it for me. So the builder has it in case he sees something that I missed and says, Scott, don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. It's just a disaster of a property. Don't go near it. And I could have missed that, and we could have put an offer forward, and it could have been a disaster. Could have paid lots of legal fees, architecture fees and stuff, and then it could have just fallen through because the builder comes down the line and says, Scott, why didn't you show me this? Could you not see this? You know? I mean, now I like to think that I know what's going on, but I don't know everything, and I like leaning on these experts because chances are they've been doing it longer than I've been alive, you know? So it's definitely important to lean on people with all this experience if you're unsure. And I also record it for little old me. So I record it for me when I get back, because when you're walking around and you're recording like this, it's hard to like actually see what you're recording. Now I do have a little walkthrough at the start, but sometimes it can be a bit rushed. Like meetings can overlap or viewings can overlap and stuff, and you do feel a little bit rushed. So I always try and prioritize getting the recording and just recording as much as possible, and then when I get back it feels like a second viewing, and that way if I miss anything I can just pick it up then. So number 9, I do a final analysis. Now this is after I viewed the property. So I've gone there and I've taken my measurements, right? And it turns out, let's say instead of, I don't know, 80 square meters like I was promised, it's in fact 70 square meters. So what does this mean if this happens? So here we could have probably got, say, 3 studios plus 3 double en suites with an end value of, I'll say an even 450, but it could be more or less depending on the area. So that's what it could have been. It could have been 3 studios, 3 double en suites, end value of 450k. However, it's actually 70 square meters. Now, that could mean it's 2 studios plus 4 double en suites. And it's not that that's bad. We've just completed on one and it's about to start renovations, and it's 2 studios and 4 double en suites. It's a phenomenal deal. But if I go in and I have all my calculations and everything ready for an 80 square meters, but it's actually 70 square meters, then my offer changes, because I'm not getting what I thought at the end. So this is where it all starts to connect. The measurements that I took with my laser measure got me more accurate information, which then affects my offer at the end. So let's say I now know that's what we're getting, right? I then do calculations in our analyzers that we've got. And you can get these on, I believe you can get it on like Landlord, you can get it on Property Engine, you can set up to do the calculations. We use our own ones, but I then do the calculations with the new information that we collected at the viewing, more accurate information. And from these calculations, let's say our offer before of our pre-viewing information was, I don't know, 170,000. With our new information, it's 140,000. Complete ballpark numbers, right? But you see what I mean. It's good to do a final analysis with the up-to-date information because it's a lot more accurate. If I didn't do this final analysis, I would have been here with 170,000 and my return on investment would have been lower, my cash left in would have been a lot higher, and I would have really been in big trouble at the end, right? So doing this final analysis with the up-to-date information can save you so much money down the line and stress and, I don't know, even letting people down. If you end up starting like pulling out plenty of deals because you haven't done this final analysis, you start pissing a lot of people off. So make sure you do this step. To be honest, I've forgotten what number I'm on. I'm thinking it's 10. And this one is submit the offer. But hey, so at the start it was 170 and now it is 140 with the new information. So I submit the offer, fantastic, but I also submit it with what we gathered earlier, the proof of ID, funds and address. This saves the agent having to ask. It saves them one extra job because they're gonna ask anyway. And if you do this, it shows that you're ready to go. Like, you are presenting this information. Look, we are ready to go on this deal. We have proof of funds, ID and address. You're not chasing us, you're not begging us, you're not waiting. We have it at the ready. So when you submit that, submit it in the same email as the offer itself. At least that's what I do anyway. Number 11, that is negotiate. Now, I haven't negotiated all year. Do you know what I get told? Scott, we need your best and final. And you know what I get told that? Every single time. Every time. The market that we're in right now is insane. And I used to think that they were at it. I used to think, you're at it. I don't think you're telling the truth. But I'm telling you, in the market that we're invested in, they're telling the truth because it goes like that. Because I'd be like, oh, here's my actual best and final. And then, that wasn't good enough, Scott, it's gone. I'm like, what? And then they were like, no, it's gone. And then I've tried it again, it's gone. And then you get to the point, I believe them when they say the best and final, but do you know what? Not everyone is saying best and final. So what I like to say is, I understand it's the best and final. Like, I get that. I do, because sometimes you're telling the truth, but if they're not, this is what I say. I say, I understand it's the best and final. However, I have 3 other offers on other properties and I can only buy 1. So the first person to get back to me with an offer accepted is the one that I'm buying. And I don't lie. I can't buy 3 at a time right now. So I can only buy 1. And if they're like, Scott, best and final, and they are at it, it's just a wee negotiation tactic, that's what I say. But you're like, Scott, how do you know if they're at it? How do you know if they're not? Well, I tried this in the market that I'm in right now and it didn't fly for a long time. That's how you know they're not at it, because it doesn't work like loads of times. But there was a couple times when I said, look, I do have 3 other offers. I genuinely can only buy 1. And the first person to get back to me with an offer accepted, I will have to move forward with them and I'll have to pull out of the others. There's sometimes like, all right, I'll speak with the seller, see what they have to say, and then we'll get back to you. And then could be an offer accepted situation. I'm not saying that this is a silver bullet to the best and final sentence, but it can work. It has worked for me, and to be honest, I hope it works for you. Number 12, offer accepted. Hooray! Didn't I just make a grueling months and months long process sound so easy? I love it when people do that. I made that sound so easy. Oh, you just got a criteria and you find it and then boom, 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 offer accepted. But I'm telling you, this feeling when you get that offer accepted after all of that work, it's like an iceberg. This is a little tip that says offer accepted, and all of that stuff underneath is looking for properties, negotiating, viewings and all that jazz. Like, this is such a good feeling when you get this email. And yeah, that is step number 12, offer accepted. So you're celebrating, drinking champagne. You got your champagne glass here. Oh, I don't even know. And you got your offer accepted. Well done. Now it's time for the fun part. I don't even know if I could spell it. Conveyancing. Alright, I'm an investor, not a speller. Anyway, conveyancing. This is where it gets really fun. I'm not going to go through it in this video, but basically, I'll do it in another video because we've done it like 5 times this year, so it'd be good for me to go through it. However, the next part is probably the best and worst part. It's conveyancing. You've got to deal with solicitors, and in our case, we deal with architects and brokers and builders, interior designers, sometimes at the client's request. And yeah, it can last a few months. It can last 6 months. It can last a few weeks. You just don't know. So having your power team available for this, I'll give you a wee tip just now while I'm at it. So power team, make sure you got the power team at the ready. If anything, if you do need a power team, then get that ready at the beginning, like when you set your criteria, because you want these guys like that as soon as the offer gets accepted. So power team involves, for us, architect, broker, builder, solicitor, etc, etc, because this isn't the video for that. I've completely forgotten some of them. I'll definitely do a proper video about that, because that is such a big topic. But yeah, having the power team ready when you start conveyancing, because we get an offer accepted and it's like, okay, solicitors, boom, brokers, boom, builder, right, we're going to organize a site visit, architect, site visit, right, you know what I mean? Like, it's like go, 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 go. We want this done properly, as fast and efficient as possible. So power team, definitely important to have on standby when you get that offer accepted. And that's it. That's a very brief walkthrough of what we do from nothing to offer accepted. If you remember to like and subscribe, that'd be pretty cool. I'm very close to 100 subscribers and it'd be awesome to hit that. And when I hit that, I'll do a Q&A, because a lot of people ask me questions, so it'll be nice to answer them. I'll see you in the next one.